Hello, hello, and
Hello.
welcome to the inaugural Ultimate Bondcast. What we're doing here is we're starting a new podcast where myself, Chris, and Mike can talk
Hello.
about James Bond. So, let me introduce you to our co-host, Mike. Mike, do you want to say hello?
Hello. Yes, Mike will say hello. I think the reason why we're here ultimately is because I think if I'm going back, Chris, me and you are quite
Mm,
big gamers, aren't we?
yeah, yeah, I'd say so.
We
We
regularly
have no other
are
life.
geeking out. We have no life. No, we play a lot of games, a lot of
Yeah,
online games, and we often have a talking subject, which is James Bond.
Star Wars.
Oh, that's for the next channel.
That's part of our podcasting empire. That is.
Yeah, we that was a really bad script that was, by the way, but yeah. We but it was something that we had so much in common, and there was a lot of passion for it. So,
Mm.
hey, why not share that with everyone else? There's a community out there that enjoy that. You know,
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We just got to a point where we would be playing a game and then realize that we've just spent the last 40 minutes talking passionately about our favorite Bond films or actors or
while
chases
getting
or
killed.
whatever. Yeah, exactly. And we
Hmm.
just thought, do you know what? Let's see if we can put that on screen and see if anyone likes it. So I
Yeah,
guess that's kind of what we're doing here today, isn't it? This is the
yeah.
first of those, and I think all we're going to do today is just sort of talk a little bit about why we're doing this, what Bond means to us, and perhaps dig a little bit into some of the news that's out there at the moment because there are a couple of stories that are worth talking about, aren't there?
There is, yeah, and the aim, hopefully, is to do these on a pretty much monthly basis, update you
Yeah.
with the latest news. It's particularly quite a hot subject right now with the movies in the future coming, new actors come
Mm.
in. We'll officiate other stuff, won't we? We'll do movies, we'll do reviews, we'll do reactions, we'll do news, and we'll do games. It's anything affiliated with 007.
Absolutely. And like we've been talking so much about what we might talk about, and there's just so many different subjects to mine from James Bond. Um and we'll
Yes,
obviously be listening to what you, the viewers, would like us to talk about as well, if we ever get
absolutely.
any. So, I definitely think I'm more than happy for us to be led by what other people want to talk about.
Absolutely. We have ideas, but we want to hear what you guys think. So put some comments in, engage with us through our Facebook channel, which we'll talk about a
Yeah,
little bit later
absolutely.
on. So, we're totally here as a community rather than just me and Chris together. It's about bringing everyone together.
Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
that sounded scripted, if I'm honest, didn't it?
That is literally the only thing that will happen today that sounds scripted.
No. Well, what
But
we'll do then is I think we'll hit on subjects that are up and coming because, like I said, there's quite a bit of news we've got out there at the moment. The
yeah,
biggest thing, which I don't know if you've seen it, most people
no.
probably have read it on Facebook.
Mm.
Um, I have to be careful because we decided not to be too swearing on our channel, didn't we?
Is it not news that you're particularly fond of then?
It's not fun, but it's genuine and it's up to date.
Okay,
So
go
it's
for it.
about the production of the new movie coming, which is we don't obviously know the name of it. We don't know the actor's going to be involved with it. However, what we do know is only about 3 years ago, if you're not aware already, Amazon bought a lot of the rights, as in 51% the rights to Bond. So now
Yes.
Amazon, unlike most things, has got control of pretty much every franchise you can think of in some shape or form, like Disney. But where they're falling down, Chris, is unfortunately no one can make a decision. There's
Yeah,
too
it's
many
really bad, isn't
chiefs.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I,
the
I
problem.
did see. I've seen it on a couple of articles at the minute that it's like Eon and Barbara Broccoli, who
Yeah.
own the rights to James Bond as a kind of the production company, I guess. And
Mhm.
Amazon are the overall overarching um, controllers of the said franchise. Like they hate each other, don't they?
I don't think
I
their
don't get it.
interests are aligned. So if you look at the Broccoli and the Wilson family, they've got all the history. It's in their it's in their blood, isn't it? It literally from the
Yeah.
60s to now, it's in their blood, and they've got a lot of passion to it, and it hasn't stifled for 1 second. Amazon might be wrong. Don't think they have the same aligned interests with stuff like that. They're more about the money rather than, they want big effects, CGI. And from what I can read here, Michael Wilson, who we all know
Mm,
is a big involvement in our world of Bond,
yeah,
can't even get a meeting with someone at Amazon
I know.
that's at
It's mad, isn't it?
level 6. And just to put that into context, that's 6 levels below Mr. Bezos, the big guy. You know,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just, I mean, how can you be involved in such a big franchise over 60 years and can't split to speak to the other person that can make the other half of your decision?
And it's funny, isn't it? Because like the way that they've been talking about it is that the the Broccolis and Eon feel that this is a really cinematic franchise and the story should be told in episodic movies. Um, and individual stories that play out over 2.5 hours, and
Yeah,
people should see them in cinema. And that's kind of obviously the model that's been done over the course of the last 50 years. But Amazon very much want to mine James Bond, the IP, in a number of different ways, including, you know, mini series and
mm,
spin-offs to other characters. But I
yeah,
think the main question is, like, who wants to see a Moneypenny origin story told over 8 episodes? It's
not
just
really.
it's just not something that I'm interested in.
I think the way I would align it, and there's probably some people out there really like this, by the way. But do we all remember the John Wick spin-off about the hotel? I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, you've put me on
Uh,
the spot now. People will be shouting
uh,
at it.
it's the big hotel where the
Yeah, yeah,
mafia
yeah, yeah.
guys all go there,
It's
and it
like
was
the
about the
world
younger
of John
version.
Wick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I might be controversial. I didn't like it. It wasn't a fan. It
I've not
didn't
seen
really
it.
strike anything with me. I love John Wick, but I didn't like them. So therefore, that's kind of my take on if they did an episode or spin-off world of James Bond, would I like it
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same way? Probably
Sorry, I've
not.
got my cat involved now. Clearly, she's on Amazon's side. Would you believe? I don't know why.
Ah,
She's only 5 levels down from Jeff Bezos, so
what an
I'll put in a good word.
absolute. Oh well, do you know what?
I know.
We might
Would you
actually
believe it?
get somewhere with that, then, might
Yeah,
we?
we might. No, I completely agree with you. It's an odd one, and I think it's just one of those where, we're very used to seeing Bond in a certain way, and
Yes.
Amazon obviously, and I understand it. Amazon's model through Prime is that, it's the 8, 10 episode TV programs that work for them,
Yeah. They
and
have made some good movies, in fairness, some independent movies by Amazon Prime, but not masses when you think about it.
but again, it's
They're,
something I don't want to see James Bond premiering on a streaming service either. I want to see them in
no,
cinemas.
I feel like it's. I don't know if you agree with this, Chris. It's that childhood thrill of watching a Bond movie back in
Yeah,
for us.
exactly.
For me, it was the 90s. For you, it was the 50s, and we kind of just.
Oh, I'm sorry, mate. You broke up there. I don't know what you said. Might be
No,
my
so
hearing aid.
80s, 90s. Let's say that. So, but you go see a movie, and it was the way cinema used to be. There was a nostalgia in the air. There's a smell of the cinema. It just felt different, and that thrill. I got it now. Seeing a Bond movie now, I love it.
Yeah. What was the first Bond film that you saw at the cinema? Can you remember?
Oh, cinema, but not first movie. I think my first movie ever, because I was very, very young. I was like 8 or 9, but it was 3 years after it come out. It was GoldenEye.
You saw? Yeah,
That was
yeah,
my
yeah.
first ever movie. But in terms of cinema, I think
Mm.
my first cinema movie was probably Die Another Day.
Die Another Day.
Yeah,
Okay.
not a great introduction, let's be honest, but
Well, no,
you know.
no. I mean, yeah. It's, from a Pierce Brosnan perspective, probably not. But yeah, again, my first Bond cinematic experience was also Pierce Brosnan. Mine was
Mm,
Tomorrow Never Dies. Was the first that I saw in the cinema.
yeah,
Um,
and both a fantastic movie. Really, really formula based on Bond, isn't it? A movie.
I mean, for me, is seeing him on the big screen, the beginning of Tomorrow Never Dies is such a good like pre-title intro as well. As you know, I love that pre-title intro, and it was
Stealing the
incredible to see it
plane.
in the cinema. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, no,
Yeah,
I completely agree with you that I think that it should be a cinematic experience, and we're not saying for 1 minute for anyone listening that's not Amazon's plan. We don't know what
mm.
Amazon's plan is.
Oh
It's
God,
just
no,
that they're
no.
they're they're, they're locking heads, aren't they? And
What
the
unfortunately has
frustration. Yeah, sorry,
Sorry,
no, go
mate,
on,
go on,
you
go
ahead.
on,
You
go
go
on.
ahead.
I was gonna say, unfortunately, we're being quite conservative about this, but
Yeah,
Barbara Broccoli's not. She's quoted,
no,
"Amazon
no,
are
she's not
effing
mincing her words, is
idiots."
she?
So,
Yeah. That really worries me. But you see, my frustration as a Bond fan, and I'm sure everyone that's listening has probably got the same frustration. It's now been
mm,
3 years since No Time to Die. We don't even know who
wow.
the next actor's going to be, let alone the next film. It's likely going to be 3, 4, 5 years until we see another film.
Yeah,
It's
usually,
not
I
like
mean,
they're gonna announce Aaron Taylor Johnson or whoever
mm,
tomorrow, and then they're going to jump straight into a Bond movie. This
and
could
I
be a
feel
while,
that
if ever.
with this controversy going on, I feel it could be 2 or 3 years before an announcement, and then another 2 or 3 years, like you said,
Mm.
until the actual production wraps. So,
Oh,
I mean, what are we,
definitely.
25? Well,
It
just
might
to
be
be
it might be
25,
we might
you
be
know?
into the 2030s before we see a Bond film again.
And that wouldn't that would be the longest tenure ever,
Yeah, I
wouldn't it?
think so.
Before,
Was it 6 years between
yeah,
License to Kill and Tomorrow and GoldenEye? That was probably the longest as far
mm,
as I know. But
and
yeah,
this one would
it'd be
be mental.
crazy.
9 year, well,
Yeah,
10 years maybe, if
yeah, it
it's
could be. It could
21.
be.
So,
But you've also got the way that No Time to Die ended is quite. I suppose they've got to explain that away in some way if they start another
do
Bond
they?
film. I guess we're getting into another topic, but like
Yeah,
you know,
that might be a slight topic another
thank God
time,
that we're
but
not
it's
getting paid
interesting.
to unpick that problem. But it is a
Oh,
problem, I would say.
it's both a blessing and a curse, isn't it? Because
Mm.
essentially you've got a fresh slate to work with, but to the
Has Bond ever
diehard
needed
fans,
a
you've
fresh
got
slate?
I don't think so. If I'm being truth, they will freshen it up, so to speak. They'll go a bit more back to basics every now and again, but they won't necessarily have to be. They've never had to deal with him being dead, and I would like to. I hate the idea of them actually dealing with the fact that, oh, it was a faked death. I wouldn't like to hear that. You know, it would undo the justice there.
I think I just worry, and it's not. I don't know what the inner workings of Eon and Amazon are, but like I don't want to see in 6 months' time an article that Barbara Broccoli has been pushed out of Eon, or do you know what I mean? There's some
Oh
sort of
no,
hostility in how this moves forward because the Broccoli family's been in control of this from the very start, really. And
they
it'd
have.
be ridiculous. It'd be uproar, wouldn't it, if this
Oh
if
God,
this led
if she
to
wasn't
problems like
involved,
that.
if you lost Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson, I think there'd be a massive uproar, and it could. Don't kill me for this. It could destroy the franchise as we know it.
No, I think you're possibly right.
Possibly, you know.
I think Amazon would give it a go, but I think it'd be like the Star Wars sequels and the Disney Plus shows and like that, where it's there's
Oh
the
yeah,
same
yeah.
heart that was there before has been lost, and the same single direction.
That's such a bad
And the
route,
people
isn't
that are
it?
making the movies don't understand the franchise in the same way. I hope
That
not.
being said, though, they do actually have some particular. I mean, this is not like Amazon news, by the way,
Mm,
but for another's perspective, they think they've got another tipped actor that might pip Aaron Taylor Johnson to the role. So
okay,
it's
tell
it's
me.
been I think since March I've been reading this last year. It's pretty much it's Aaron Taylor Johnson. It's everywhere, isn't it? In red lights, he's imminently about to sign the contract, and you're thinking, great, he's been kick-ass. He's been Quicksilver. He's just about to play Craven. So he's got a good action heritage to him. In fairness, so I wouldn't be against him being Bond. I think he's
He was
great.
good in Bullet Train as well.
Ah, haven't seen that. Oh, I should have done
Have
it.
you
I
not
should
seen
have
Bullet
done it.
Train? It's really good.
No,
So
I
I'll
really
tell
need
you a
to.
story. I actually went to the cinema last night. I went to see the new
Oh wow.
Nosferatu movie, and it was amazing. But Aaron
Yeah.
Taylor Johnson was in that as well, and he was awesome in that movie.
Was he?
And I was just sitting there thinking, he was doing quite like a posh English accent, but you know that he could be debonair and suave and pull that role off. So if they announced it was him, I'd have absolutely no issues with it.
Oh, I'm actually hoping genuinely
He's
it's
your
him.
pick, is he? He's your
Based on
pick.
I think they want to go younger. They want to put a
I get
real
that. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
statement. Put him younger. Give the actor a long lifespan. I hate
Yeah,
to be a
so we
bit
can get like 5, 6
like that.
movies out of him.
Yeah, God, I mean, Daniel Craig was what 2006 to 2021 officially. That's a long time,
It is.
And I think
Yeah, it is.
I think he was 38 or something when he first took on that role. So you know,
after every movie, he said that was going to be his last movie as well. He would always come out of the movie being like, "That was my
he
worst
was
experience ever. I'm never making another
slashing
one."
my wrists
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. And
all
then he'd
that,
just
wasn't
make another one.
it?
Do you think he
Well,
got paid to make those movies? Maybe that's why he kept coming back.
be honest, Chris, if you had, I don't know, an undisclosed, very large sum of money thrown at you to stand in a movie studio for a couple of days, would you do it? I think I probably would.
Oh, I think I probably would. Yeah. Do you want to play James Bond? Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe.
It's a bit of a drag, isn't it? What about the
Yeah, it'd be awful.
story? And I don't like the script. Here's 100 million. Oh, go on then. Why not? Why not?
Anyway, we're getting away from the point here. You were going to tell me who this other actor was.
I was. We went slightly different.
Yeah, we went off track,
didn't we? So this is an unknown actor, okay, but I've looked into him
Okay.
to find out who he is. So you want to know his name? His name's Josh O'Connor. Now,
Don't know him.
like you give me the same look that I had when I went, who? So Josh O'Connor is not a known name. However, he has appeared in some low key stuff and something quite prolific quite recently. So the low key stuff, he's been sort of side actors in things like Doctor Who, and he's been in Peaky Blinders, stuff like that. So he's an up and coming British actor. However, his most prolific role that I've found, and you might tell me otherwise on the chat, he played the younger version of Prince Charles in The Crown on Netflix.
Okay.
So he's done that for about 2 or 3 seasons, from what I can see. I don't really know the show great, but yeah, that's what he's done. And he has been tipped now 2 days ago from this point as being the favourite above Aaron Taylor-Johnson. So I don't know. I'm not against the idea. He can play very Britishness, and that's kind of what you need. But
I think I've never been disappointed with see, the thing is, like, even though the first, like, I was a fan of Bond when Pierce Brosnan was Bond. I don't remember the experience of the casting of Pierce Brosnan and the conversations at the time, which definitely wouldn't have been as much as they are now with like social media. But like, I trust them to make the right decision. I've got who I would prefer to be Bond, but whoever they choose, I'm sure it'll be the right guy. I don't remember loving the Daniel Craig choice when it happened.
Yeah, but people didn't like
him. Amazing.
They were whole James Blonde thing, weren't they? The blonde hair.
There's a big thing about his hair color. How weird was that?
And now people are like, oh, don't go, make another movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think I can't blame him actually for wanting to say I'd never do another one, because the amount of criticism you get must be overwhelming.
Oh, it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
And I think that's something that
have we got background music on?
I have. I thought we'd get a little bit.
I tell you what,
Do
fantastic.
you like it? Do you like that?
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
I wanted to go soft, but we could also go, if we wanted to, a little bit rockier, because it's a bit of a news segment.
I'm loving it. It's got a bit of it's giving me like sexual healing vibes. I love it.
You know what? This is really, really Bond inspired, because there's a lot of sexual healing.
It is really Bond inspired. Well done. Well done.
From
I love
Bond.
it.
I like the link back into it. But we've also, Chris, unfortunately, we've had a couple of deaths in the Bond world.
Okay, I'm glad we've segued from me laughing into Bond deaths. That's great.
Actually, that being said, maybe we should go a little bit more mellow.
Somber.
For this, So, these aren't big names, by the way, but they are very much involved with every movie you've probably ever watched.
It's always sad when somebody involved in the franchise goes, isn't it? And you've got to pay respects to the long life and that they've led and the impact that they had on the franchise in whatever way it was.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what's really important. So, for example, there's a guy involved in the back ends called Alan Church, who died at the end of last year, and he was apparently the protege to Maurice Binder. For those of you who don't know who Maurice Binder was, he was responsible for pretty much every title sequence from Doctor No to just before Pierce Brosnan. I think actually he might have done a couple of Pierce Brosnan's one, didn't he, as well?
I'm sure. I thought he'd started Pierce Brosnan's. I don't know whether he did the first 2 or just GoldenEye, but I'm sure people in the chat can maybe tell us. Eventually.
I'm not quite sure. A good probably about 18 movies he's probably done the title sequences for over that one. So his protege was heavily involved with those title sequences has unfortunately passed on. So we'll say rest in peace, Alan Church, because you've made a legacy that maybe you didn't think would be followed, but it has. It really has. So Chris, is also another terrible moment. Okay, do we remember? Nobody does it better. Makes me feel sad for that. Yeah,
Who could
I was hoping
forget?
to chip in. So,
We don't you sing it too well. We're going to get copyright struck if you sing it anymore.
I was under 15 seconds. I was
okay,
under
good.
15
You
seconds.
scared me. I thought Carly Simon had died for a minute there.
Oh, but with my throat right now, I feel like more like Rod Stewart singing it rather than Carly Simon. but there's another gentleman passed away in December, Richard Perry, literally the producer of that tune.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know about
sad.
you, that tune has got to be ranked up there somewhere for me in the top 5.
I completely agree, and I'm sure we'll get onto it one day. But I think it's got to be top 5. I don't know where it sits, but for me, top 5 Bond theme tunes definitely. I love that theme tune, and I will always love the story of how hard they found it to insert the title of the movie into the song, because Carly Simon apparently hadn't written it that way, or the writer of the song hadn't written it that way, but they were very adamant that the title needed to be in the song.
Apparently, they didn't realise that until it was close to release. Apparently, they didn't realise that.
Oh, really? They didn't realise. Now they covered it up well. It works really well.
Let's face it. It's got an infamous legacy that song has for me. I mean, I wasn't around when it first came out, that movie or that song, but it's so stapled in my brain right now.
I thought you were going to say it was my wedding song. It was that important to me that it was my first song at my wedding.
I don't think my wife would have married me if
I'd have felt bad because I didn't remember that it was the first song at your wedding either. So
makes her feel sad for the rest, mate.
Makes you feel sad for the rest of her life. Yeah. Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah, unfortunately, two greats in our world, in our industry of Bond, have sadly passed on. So
that's really sad, and I feel like perhaps in future in memoriam sections, we take it a little more seriously.
Oh, I believe so. Yeah, absolutely, and that will come in time. We are by no means crisp, and we're not a finished article. Definitely not. I would actually like to look at this video in about 2 or 3 years' time and watch it again. It'd be quite funny.
You'll be the view that gets it over 1 million, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
it'll be it's got to be close to 1 million. I mean, for anyone who's watching in 2030, how many millions are we on right now? We've got to be on 2 or 3 million views.
I think that's in the first week of 2030. It's a lot.
Do you think we hit it in 2030? I can't wait. Fantastic.
I'm optimistic, mate. I tell you what, I will talk to you about now, though, Chris. Right? So that's unfortunately our news section over. However,
hey, we've made it through our first section. That was the pre-titles over. We've hit the song, and now we're with them, and we're getting.
Do we need a title sequence? Is that what we need now?
I feel like we need a Bond song. I feel like it's what we need. Is we need to jump into a Bond song, and then. Oh, are we doing it?
No, we can't because of copyright issues.
However, we can't because of copyright issues. No.
Tango is gone. Nobody don't care. No.
Fantastic.
No. Let's go back. Right, here we go. So we're going to go a little bit more dramatic for this bit, because what we need to discuss, Chris, is who is our favourite actor, and what about the role brought that to you? What made you make that decision? Was it Mr. Connery? Was it who was his name again? I can't remember.
Oh, don't be mean to George.
Good old Roger.
I can't believe you're making me pick my favourite Bond right now.
It's a tough one.
I'm so stressed.
Where do you go with that? I mean, come on, that's our home, boy, isn't it? That's our first one.
I can tell you what I love about all of them. That might be easier.
Okay, and do you know what? We'll stop the highlights reel, and we'll.
What? I mean, I don't mind. That. You tell me who's your favourite. Do you have an easy favourite? Because mine changes.
Tough one.
Mine changes, depending on the mood.
So, I think. going to make sure I get the answer right in this one because it's a big moment. This is. Right, Daniel Craig has been amazing. Let's be honest. In the role, he's really. I think he's the true actor that's redefined it and took it to a place it's never ever gone before. So
Yeah.
he has that in his favour. Okay?
I think so. Yeah.
However, I think the thing that he does lack is the classicness of Bond. You know, the suaveness of him. But I also like the fact that he took the Ian Fleming aspect of the role. You know, the cold-blooded killer.
I love that about
brutality. Drinks whiskey, can smoke. Well, not smoke a fag because you can't do that nowadays. But the point
you can't
is,
do that on Bond nowadays. No.
Yeah, you can't.
Nasty habit.
They'll have that. But my favourite actor, truthfully, it's a controversial one now, is Mr. Dalton.
Oh, I mean, you see, the thing is, you could have said any of them, and I can't argue with it because I think that they all bring something to the roles. And we've talked about this before, but I completely agree with you how good Timothy Dalton is in the role. I just wish we'd seen a third movie. He's gone too soon, isn't he?
Do you know what? In another video podcast, we are going to cover the movie that never was.
Yes, I think we need to. We need to talk about the unmade Timothy Dalton movie.
There is quite a lot of information out there that I will gladly dig out for you, Chris.
I can't wait.
Reveal in a good context to everybody.
Yeah, let's talk about that at some point. But yeah, so I love Timothy Dalton as well. I think that's a great choice. I
think he's the Bond that got underappreciated because he wasn't really rated in his day because he followed Roger Moore. Let's be honest, was a completely different type of Bond.
Oh, 100%, very different.
He's done what Daniel Craig did, but 2 decades too early.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it was because it was such a right turn. Like Roger Moore had almost become a parody of Bond towards the end. And I'm not saying that to be critical of Roger Moore, but the way that the tone of the movies, the tone of the movies was campier and more fun and lighthearted. And Timothy Dalton went in a very serious and hard direction. I mean, we say it before, but License to Kill was the first 15 rated Bond movie in the UK, and you know that's because that they took it in a more serious direction.
Do you know what was ironic about License to Kill was in a Dalton interview? This is actually, I think it was a 50-year celebration they did this interview for. Because with respect, Dalton looks a relatively older man at this stage, so clearly it's that time. But the point was, he was criticised by people, particularly by going, "Oh no, I can't take my child to go and see James Bond anymore now because it's a 15. It's got too much blood and gore and violence and whatever in there." To which he replied in an interview, "You were never meant to. This was a story about the most brutal, glamorized serial killer the screen's ever known."
Well, that's a really twisted way of looking at Bond, but I'm impressed.
It's essentially what he is, isn't he? But why would your child want to be there? But it's because they grew up with Roger Moore. Not criticising him, but there was a dark contrast, and I like the darkness. I won't lie. I was much more au fait with that than the slight campy era. Not to say there aren't some good movies from Roger Moore, though.
Oh no, there are absolutely.
How about yourself? Who do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, it's difficult. I always feel like I want to say Sean Connery or Daniel Craig because I feel like they are not the obvious choices because they're not, but there's like sensible choices. They're classy choices. Yeah, but I can't look any further than Pierce Brosnan. Yeah, for me, he was shortchanged with the quality of some of his movies. He was the right Bond at the wrong time. But because he was the Bond that I grew up with. In some respects, he was the Bond at the time when you and I were getting into Bond.
Absolutely.
And I think because of that, and because of like the cultural sensation that was like the video games that surrounded the Pierce Brosnan movies as well.
Yeah,
so GoldenEye was a huge part of my life in the 90s. So yeah, I can't look past Pierce really.
Do you know, I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen a pixelated version of Pierce Brosnan in a video game and gone, that looks exactly like Pierce Brosnan. Because it's always slightly off, isn't it? Just a little bit.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is.
I think it was. We'll go off tangent, but I think it was Agent Under Fire. It was a brilliant game, but man, that's not Pierce Brosnan. That's Roger Moore on crack cocaine. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he had some weird character models.
Very, very peculiar. But then again, he was the. I suppose he was a template, wasn't he? Template of a new era.
Yeah, I think so. Roger Moore was going. I think Roger Moore was not Roger Moore. Why am I talking about Roger Moore? Pierce Brosnan was a course correct from Timothy Dalton, because I think that they were reacting a little bit to the reaction to License to Kill, and I think that's why they took a little bit more time. And Pierce Brosnan was going back to a safer James Bond, and I still think GoldenEye has some really serious moments in it, but I think in general, and I think you see it towards Die Another Day where his Bond gets really silly, and
it's a shame because he does play the dark coldness quite well. I think
he does.
At times.
Yeah, he does.
I think was it The World Is Not Enough, where he kills Elektra, cold blood.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
that was
in the bedroom where he chases her up the tower. Yeah.
Yes, and it done, to be honest, done with absolute seriousness, and then proceeds to jump off the off the tower into the water.
Yeah, exactly. But that's just it. They couldn't help but take the serious tone and then make something silly out of it. Oh, we've gone single camera. This is how professional it is here. We've gone single camera.
We are mixing it up on an audio basis, Chris.
Mixing it up. I love it. So, I think that there are. I mean, we obviously know that there are good points to each Bond, and it's one of those where I don't want to. I feel like I don't want to cover everything in one episode, but it's so hard not to talk about Bond as a whole, isn't it? You know, when you want to talk about one good movie, but you have to talk about it in the context of 24 other movies that are, of varying degrees of good or bad.
I think that's the benefit, though, because there's such a refreshing approach when you look at a different angle of the movies, whether it's defined by era, and I hate to say it, sexual preferences in the world, the way women are viewed, feminine views, technology. Yeah, there's
definitely some difficult scenes to watch in older Bond movies, aren't there, nowadays?
There is some where you're going to go, that sort of. But you respect the time it was made.
I was going to say the same. They're time capsules, aren't they? They are of their time, and I think that you've got to view them with that lens, haven't you?
Yeah. Not that nobody would excuse anything that happens in those movies, but what you do say is, unfortunately, it was a different era, and it was never ever tackled in that era. That's the unfortunate part of it. Really, we're not condoning anything, and I think we're going a little bit too dark.
I feel like we're talking about it too much as well.
We've got to be careful, haven't we? That's the thing, Yeah.
Let's get back to the campness of Roger Moore right now, please.
Yeah. What was your sort of like definitive Brosnan movie then? Was it? I'm thinking, is it GoldenEye?
I mean, it's difficult. See, I almost think like with Pierce Brosnan, you've almost got to discount GoldenEye, because I think GoldenEye for me is so much higher. It's head and shoulders above the others in so many ways. But if I can ignore GoldenEye because it's such like a cultural touchstone to us, I honestly think Tomorrow Never Dies is an excellent Bond movie. I think The World Is Not Enough is an excellent Bond movie. I think they both they're 80% of the way there, whereas GoldenEye is 90% of the way there.
Can I throw something out there that might make you controversial with Pierce Brosnan?
Go on.
Really liked the ice chase with the Aston Martin on the ice.
The Aston Martin vanish.
Yeah.
I know. I get that. There's a scene, the bit where he manages to flip the car, so that he misses the like rocket that's fired at him.
Yes.
I love that.
I mean, it's cheese, but you could argue that's what Roger Moore did years ago. That sort of thing.
Exactly. But that's it. They got cheesier, didn't they?
So I mean, it's controversial, but I quite liked that car chase for everything it was about.
No, I did too. Die Another Day starts off really serious as well. When he's in North Korea and he's using the hovercraft. It's proper serious. He gets caught at the end, and you're like, whoa.
This doesn't happen normally.
Yeah, exactly. And you thought, this is gritty. I like this. And
I
then it's
thought when
like people whose faces have been swapped, and crystals, and
yeah,
ion cannons from satellites, and it got really silly.
holy shit! I thought for a minute when the North Koreans at the beginning of Die Another Day caught him after the hovercraft chase, I thought, okay, they're just going to take him to the room, strap him to a table, and threaten him with a laser. No, that was some seriously brutal torture. That was horrendous, wasn't it?
It was torture for us as well, because we had to sit through the Madonna song while it was happening. Was he getting tortured with scorpions? Am I making that up? I remember there being like a little flash of him being a scorpion being put on him.
There was scorpion venom, I think they were using. Yes, they were.
That might have been it.
Yeah. No, they stung him to administer the antidote, so not to kill him.
Yeah, you see, I remembered there being something really dumb in the interrogation.
I mean, I don't know if that would. I know you can argue nothing's realistic in Bond, but does that really work? Could you get stung and then immediately antidoted and be okay?
Surely someone's extracted that venom at some point where you don't need to have to handle a scorpion in order to administer it. Surely it's in a vial somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that when you look at the torture scenes, it's between that and Casino Royale. They were brutal, both of them.
Oh, the Casino Royale one's amazing. Yeah, Casino Royale is up there as one of my all-time favorite Bond movies of all time.
We will do the rankings.
I'm sure we will at some point. Yeah, I'm sure we will.
Sure of it.
We will.
Proper ranking, and we'll put them on the screen so you can see them as it comes on. But I have to say, it's a top 10, and I'm going to leave that as quite vague. It's top 10.
I'm happy to leave it as vague as that, but it's definitely up there.
It's definitely
it's one of those that's got it's got one of the best car chases in it. It's got the best casino scenes, which you'd expect from Casino Royale, I guess. It lives or dies by its casino scenes, surely. I love it.
I was so bored with the idea for casinos until I saw Casino Royale.
Now you can't get him out of the casino.
That's why I'm on YouTube. I'm trying to get all that money back that I've now lost.
All your gambling debt. No. He's in the casino, drunk on Vespers. It's unbelievable.
Oh, do you know what? Right, I think when we do our stream again, we've decided in February it's going to be martinis at the ready. What do you reckon?
I love it. Ready? Absolutely, yep. Martinis at the ready. I've got half a pint of martini right here. So,
well, I've got a full pint, but it's that.
Have you? Oh, fantastic!
It's
bottoms up,
a little
mate.
Bit too. Oh, it's not working with the green screen though. Oh, no.
It's not. It's not.
No, but guys, put in the comments what you want us to go into. Talk to us. We will talk back, and we will pick up subjects that maybe don't bother you, but you'd like to know what everyone else thinks of them.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree, and I think it's just about us, having a nice, fun conversation about Bond, reminiscing, having arguments, settling disputes over what we think about Bond. But we'll obviously be led by other people. I think in general, like just to. Sorry, go on. Yeah. No, all I was going to say, I was really just saying that I think that before we end the stream, I think it'd be really good for us just to, talk about what it is about the franchise that draws us in. Like, why is it that we keep coming back to Bond? Simple
answer to that for me, anyway. Escapism.
Yeah. Okay.
It's totally and utterly. Yeah. Whether it's sort of invisible cars, space lasers, teeth giant henchmen, or whatever, or we're going dead serious where we're kicking the, thinking my French, shit out of someone in a bathroom. It's the escapism, isn't it? And
it is the escapism.
To me, you can always identify Bond, maybe a little more, a little bit less on each movie, but you still expect that thrill when you go and see one. So for me, escapism.
I completely agree. And I think it's one of those where you're like, that's a man up there right now. Oh my God. If only I was James Bond. But that's it. You live vicariously through James Bond. It's that sort of adage of like, all I did with James Bond, him and them want to be it. I would be James Bond. You would be James Bond. Fred.
You want to be.
So, I mean, I think that the thing that I love about Bond, like you say, is the escapism, but it's it's just the fun of seeing him put in impossible situations and having to get out of them. and
Yeah.
whether it's by using his own wits or using whatever gadgets have been given to him by Q Branch, it's just seeing him in situations like that.
Do you reckon in the next film when it comes up, because it could be in 2031, like you said, when it comes out, do you think we might be dealing with a slightly more condensed, budget restricted Bond in the movie? So, for example, he's driving a Fiat 500. He might have to have a bottle of Ribena in there, cup holder,
That's the perfect Bond card, the Fiat 500,
rather
right?
than a holster. He's
He
got
doesn't
to
need
fight.
4 seats.
No, well, when's he ever used them? Let's be honest.
I bet a Fiat 500 could do well underwater as well.
And he has pushed a Fiat 500 in the last 2 movies. We know that in Spectre.
Yeah, fair enough.
So do you reckon we might see a more budget restricted version of him?
We might. I don't even think that would be a bad thing. I think in general in cinema at the minute, like budgets are getting crazy, and there's no middle movie anymore. It's either it's a $10 million art house or horror movie, from Blumhouse or something like that, or it's 100, 150, 200 million blam blockbuster that's got to make 500 million before it can break even. So I feel like there's space for a 60, 70, 80 million dollar movie, and I'd be more than happy if they said let's make a smaller story here, and
you know what,
and we'll take Bond back to basics.
Keep it under 90 minutes as well. It doesn't have to be 2.5 hours.
Oh God, movies are so long nowadays. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
You need an interval for the interval. It's just crazy nowadays. And
I don't have the attention span for it. I need an interval just so I can doom scroll on TikTok for 5 minutes.
Every now and again, if I want a Bond movie that's short and quick and easy to point, because I don't got a lot of time, whatever, I'll do Doctor No or Quantum of Solace, because they're the shortest ones in the franchise, and they're a good watch. They're a good watch for a quick movie as well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I would love to see a 1 hour 45 minute, $60 million Bond movie. Do that.
Yeah,
crank them all out like that. Maybe Amazon would be happier making that.
Jeffrey Bezos, if you're listening, which you're probably not, do that. These are our suggestions.
He's got to be listening. He's got to be watching this right now. Surely, he's got to be.
I think we've actually influenced the future of the movies without us even knowing it, Chris.
I think so. When the new movie comes out, I'm sure we'll be in the credits somewhere.
Yeah, towards the very, very end in extremely small font.
I would think so. It's got to be. So yeah, I agree with you. I think there's got to be a change in the way that Bond movies are made moving forward. Yeah. I would love it if we got. The worry is, I think that the long distances between films will still continue even once we've got a new Bond, and we get the next Bond film, whatever that is, in 2030 or whatever. I think it'll still be 4 or 5 years before we get another and another and another. So maybe they have to go really young, because they know that if they want to get 4 films out of them, they've got to last 20 years just to do 4 films.
At this rate, you're gonna have a teenage Bond, aren't you? Let's be honest. You're gonna have a 15-year-old Bond.
And I'm happy to talk about the young James Bond cartoon that used to exist, because
James Bond Jr.
Young James Bond was great. James Bond Jr. Thank you. Yes.
James Bond Jr. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was such a great show. That was back in the day.
Oh, it was.
But
it was.
There was also, I don't know if you read the books much, but there was the Bond series. It was called Silverfin. It was a young Bond at school.
Yes.
Back in the old days.
Right.
And I vaguely remember this book because it was his first kill. It wasn't Casino Royale, like everybody thinks it was. His first kill was a bully on a hilltop at the top of a very, very sort of steep white cliff somewhere. And he smashed his head into a rock on the ground. And that was his first kill. But that could be a story. No, he was bullying. He was bullying him. He was bullying Bond. Yeah. And that was the first time he killed someone.
Genuinely, though, would you be interested in another Bond origin? Because I mean, I don't think I would.
As in the next movie coming out, you mean?
Yeah, let's say that the next movie comes out and they say we're going to reboot. That word, I hate it, but
see, reboots are dark. It's a bit of a dirty word at times, isn't it? Because it's been done in done so many times where it's gone wrong, and I'm not just referring to Bond. There's been so many franchises that, I mean, how many times have we seen Batman's parents die? How many times have we seen Uncle Ben die? You know what I mean? And there's an origin story behind them, and I think leave it alone. Soft reboot it, but don't pay homage to anything that's happened before.
I totally agree. I think we just need to get back to his Bond at the beginning of an adventure, and we're just supposed to accept that this is the new Bond, and we don't need him on a beach saying this wouldn't have happened to the other guy.
Yeah. Well, why don't you do, the Living Daylights opening with Dalton, and you don't see his face until the last second at the
Exactly.
Just do that.
Just do that.
Go. He's over there. That's Bond. We know he died, but he's over there.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, 2031. How old will we be, Chris? 6 years from
now. Oh God, late 20s, won't it? I'm struggling to think now.
I know. I might be touching 25 at the time it comes out. I don't know.
But, 25. Yeah, I'll be 45 nearly by that point. I'm 40 this year.
2031, I will be 41, and that's 41. A scary thought.
So scary, isn't it?
That's what the future holds, but who knows what the franchise holds for us? I'm sure it is in good hands, despite what we've just said earlier.
And who knows what the ultimate Bondcast holds for us and for everyone else. There is so much potential.
There is. We've literally listed around 50 independent subjects that we didn't think.
I think we are
part of it, and we're like, yes, this has got years of content.
Absolutely, it has. But I mean,
we will be. Next time it's going to be Valentine's Day, roughly. We're thinking, isn't it?
Yeah, I think mid-Feb, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to look at Bond romances, aren't we? In the most romantic time of the year, we're going to look at some of the love affairs that Bond has had over the course of Bond movies. Maybe we'll talk about, maybe we'll rank them. Maybe we won't. Maybe get us some in to us. Maybe tell us what you think your favourite Bond romances are before the episode.
Yeah, who's your favourite Bond girl? It doesn't matter what era, what reason. Who's your favourite Bond girl? Tell us in the chat. And we're not just encouraging men, we're encouraging everybody. So just tell us who's your favourite.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. But I mean, I think that's us for this week, Mike. I've really enjoyed this.
I really have as well, and I look forward to more of this to come and making this really fun and growing this community space for us all.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, before we go, is there anything that you'd like to plug or talk about? Where can people find you?
Very simple. We have, I'm going to attach it in the description below in a moment. We've got the Facebook page open for the Ultimate Bondcast. Just click, join in, get all the up-to-date news, watch all the streams that are going to come out, and we'll notify you. And also, get in touch with us so we can react back with you guys, because that is the reason we wanted to do this.
Absolutely. Completely agree.
Yeah, Facebook page in the description very shortly.
No, absolutely. I mean, if we can build some sort of community of like-minded Bond fans, we would love to get involved directly in any of those chats. I think, and that'll help sort of facilitate future episodes.
If they're good enough, really good, we might even get you on.
Yeah, we might get you on. In fact, can you replace us, please? Because we're rubbish at this.
Be a way to go, though, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a way to go. I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, no, absolutely. Anything from you, Chris?
Yeah. So I think from me, absolutely go and check out the Facebook page. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. This is where predominantly we will be, and we'll obviously start to explore audio podcast solutions as well in the future. And I think other than that, just from a selfish point of view, I have my YouTube channel, Geek Figure Fan. So if you're interested in action figure reviews and news, please go and check that out as well. But that is it from me.
Absolutely awesome. Great. Been absolutely a pleasure today, mate. We've really enjoyed it.
It's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Absolute pleasure. And I can't wait for next month already.
We need to not leave it for too long. So mark your calendars. Valentine's Day. It's coming.
Oh, I can't wait. So yeah, thanks so much for joining us today. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you can. Please like the video. That'd be incredibly helpful to us. But I think we will bid you farewell.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. See you later. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.